What if the way you talk to yourself in the mirror every single morning is the exact reason your life looks the way it does today? Most people wake up and criticize their reflection before they even say good morning to themselves. They notice the tired eyes, the extra weight, the wrinkles, the flaws, and they attack themselves silently day after day, year after year. What they don't realize is that the subconscious mind is always listening and it believes every word you feed it. If you tell yourself, I'm not good enough, for 20 years, your mind builds an entire identity around that sentence. It shows up in your relationships, your career, your health, your bank account. This is shocking because most people blame the outside world, their boss, their partner, their circumstances, when really the pattern started with a private conversation they had with their own reflection. The mirror doesn't lie, but it also doesn't create the story. You do. Every harsh word becomes a brick in a wall you build around your own joy. The moment you begin speaking gently to yourself, even if you don't fully believe it yet, something inside starts to shift. The body relaxes, the mind opens. Opportunities that were always there suddenly become visible. This is not magic. It is the direct result of changing the internal dialogue that has been running your entire life without your permission. What if your body is not betraying you, but simply reflecting the thoughts you have refused to release for years? Every ache, every illness, every heaviness in the chest is often a message, not a punishment. Resentment held in the shoulders, fear held in the stomach, old grief held in the throat, making it hard to speak your truth. This idea shocks people because society teaches us the body is separate from the mind, that pain is random, purely physical, disconnected from emotion. But those who have healed deeply know this is rarely true. The body keeps score of every unspoken hurt. It stores the anger you swallowed at 12 years old, the shame you carried at 20, the heartbreak you never processed at 30. And it will keep sending signals louder and louder until you finally listen. Healing does not always start with medicine. Sometimes it starts with an honest conversation with yourself about what you've been carrying. When you release old emotional weight, the body often follows in ways that surprise even doctors. This doesn't mean illness is your fault. It means your body has always been on your side, trying to get your attention, trying to protect you, trying to guide you back to wholeness. Once you see your body as a loyal messenger instead of an enemy, your entire relationship with yourself begins to transform. What if happiness is not something you have to earn, but something you were already born worthy of? From childhood, so many of us were taught the opposite, that joy must be deserved through good grades, good behavior, achievement, approval. So we grew into adults who feel guilty resting, guilty celebrating, guilty simply being at peace without first proving our worth through exhaustion. This belief is one of the most damaging and one of the most common. It keeps brilliant, kind, hard-working people stuck in cycles of overworking, over-apologizing, and underliving. Here is the shocking truth. A newborn baby is not happy because it accomplished something. It is happy because happiness is its natural state before the world teaches it otherwise. That means joy was never something added to you. It was something covered up, buried under layers of conditioning, comparison, and fear. You do not need permission from your parents, your job title, your bank balance, or social media to feel joy today. Worthiness is not a reward waiting at the finish line. It is the ground you have been standing on your entire life without realizing it. The moment you stop chasing happiness as a future destination and start recognizing it as your original nature, the entire chase collapses. There is nothing to catch up to. There is only remembering what was true before the world convinced you otherwise. What if the guilt you have carried since childhood is the very same guilt quietly blocking your abundance today? Many people grow up absorbing silent messages that they were too much, too loud, too sensitive, too demanding, or somehow responsible for a parent's stress, a family's struggle, or a household's tension. That child grows into an adult who unconsciously sabotages good things the moment they arrive, because deep down, a part of them still believes they don't deserve ease. This shows up as turning down opportunities, staying in draining relationships, or feeling anxious the moment life finally feels calm. It sounds unbelievable, but the subconscious mind will often recreate familiar pain over unfamiliar peace simply because pain feels safe and known, while joy feels foreign and undeserved. This is why some people can achieve success and still feel empty, or receive love and still feel undeserving of it. The guilt was never really about what happened in childhood. It's about the story that was attached to it. And stories, unlike facts, can be rewritten. The moment you recognize this invisible loop, you gain the power to interrupt it. Abundance is not blocked by bad luck. It is often blocked by an old, unexamined belief still running silently in the background, waiting for someone brave enough to finally question it. What if forgiveness was never really for the person who hurt you, but the master key that unlocks your own freedom? Most people resist forgiveness because they believe it means excusing what happened or telling the other person their actions were acceptable. But forgiveness has almost nothing to do with the other person at all. It is the act of releasing yourself from carrying their weight for one more day, one more year, one more decade. Unforgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. Meanwhile, they may have moved on completely, unaware that you are still replaying the moment in your mind at 3 a.m., still tightening your chest every time their name is mentioned. This is shocking to admit, but holding on to resentment often hurts nobody except the one holding it. The person who wounded you is not lying awake reliving it. You are. Forgiveness is not weakness, and it is not approval. It is the radical decision to stop paying rent on space in your mind to people who no longer deserve to live there. It doesn't happen overnight, and it isn't about forgetting. It is about choosing again and again to loosen the grip so you can finally breathe. The day you truly forgive is the day you take your power back completely. What if every single I can't you have ever spoken has been quietly rewriting the direction of your entire life? Words are not neutral. Every sentence spoken with conviction becomes an instruction to the subconscious mind, and the mind is remarkably obedient. Say, I can't afford it enough times, and doors quietly close. Say, I'm not lucky in love enough times, and patterns repeat themselves as if on command. This is not superstition. It is the accumulated weight of repetition shaping perception, decision making, and even the opportunities we allow ourselves to notice. Most people don't realize they are casting spells on themselves with casual, careless language multiple times a day. I always mess things up. Nothing good ever happens to me. I'm too old, too late, too behind. Each phrase is a seed planted in fertile soil, and the mind grows exactly what is planted, without judgment about whether the seed was helpful or harmful. This is why changing outer circumstances without changing inner language rarely creates lasting change. People chase new jobs, new relationships, new cities, hoping the external shift will fix the internal story, and then wonder why the same patterns follow them anyway. The words were never the description of your life. They were the instructions. And instructions can always be rewritten starting today. What if everything you believe about your own worth is a lie someone else told you, and you've been living inside their words for years without ever questioning them? What if the tiredness, the sadness, the feeling of never being enough was never actually yours to begin with? What if right now, in the next 60 seconds, something inside you finally cracked open and you remembered deep in your bones that you were never broken, never behind, never unworthy, only asleep? Stay with me, because what I'm about to share might just change the rest of your life. Full speech, why you deserve to be happy. What if everything you believe about your own worth is a lie someone else told you, and you've been living inside their words for years without ever questioning them? Think about it. Somewhere along the way, a tired parent, a harsh teacher, a careless comment, or a painful heartbreak convinced you that you had to earn your happiness. That joy was a reward for good behavior. That rest had to be justified. That love had to be chased, proven, negotiated for. And so you built an entire life around trying to become enough. Enough for love, enough for success, enough for peace, never realizing that enough was never something you had to become. It was something you already were. Look in the mirror tonight and notice what you say. Notice the small, silent cruelties, the sighs at your reflection, the criticism of your body, the disappointment in your own eyes. That mirror has been listening to you for years, and so has your mind, faithfully building a life that matches exactly what you've been telling it. If you've been saying, I'm not good enough, your mind has been working overtime to prove you right. But here is the truth. You were never the problem. The story was. Your body has never betrayed you. Every tension in your shoulders, every knot in your stomach, every sleepless night is not punishment. It is a message, a loyal, patient messenger trying to tell you that something old is ready to be released. The grief you never cried, the anger you swallowed to keep the peace, the fear you carried since childhood that you were too much or never enough. Your body has been holding it all so you wouldn't have to face it alone. But it is tired now, and it is asking you gently to finally listen. And the guilt, oh, the guilt so many of us carry from childhood, the belief that we were somehow responsible for a parent's pain, a family's struggle, a home that never felt calm. That guilt did not disappear when we grew up. It simply changed its disguise. It shows up now as self-sabotage, as pushing away good things right when they arrive, as feeling anxious the moment life finally feels peaceful. But hear this clearly. You were a child. You were never responsible for the world around you, and it is never too late to finally set that child free. Forgiveness is not weakness. It was never about excusing what happened to you. It is about refusing to carry someone else's weight for one more day. Holding on to resentment is like drinking poison and waiting for someone else to feel the pain. Meanwhile, you are the one lying awake at night, replaying moments that the other person may not even remember. Forgiveness is you, finally, choosing yourself. And your words, every I can't, every I'm too late, every nothing good ever happens to me. These are not descriptions of your life. They are instructions, and instructions can be rewritten right now, in this very moment. So let this be the moment you stop waiting to deserve happiness and start remembering that you already do. Not because of what you've achieved, not because of how much you've suffered, not because you've finally become perfect, but simply because you exist. Joy was never a prize at the finish line. It is the ground beneath your feet, waiting patiently for you to notice it was there all along. You were never broken, you were never behind, you were only asleep to your own worth, and today, that sleep ends. The mirror, the body, the guilt, the resentment, the words you speak, every single one of them has been waiting for you to choose a new story. Not tomorrow, not when things get easier, now. Because happiness was never something you had to chase, earn, or deserve through suffering. It was always yours, quietly waiting beneath the noise, for the moment you were finally ready to come home to yourself.